Hello and welcome to Time About the Movies Flashback. Today we're flashing back to the 4th of July, 1987, the halfway point of the year. And we've got two notable movies coming out this weekend. And notable for just the fact that they weren't the biggest hits at the time of their release. But man, the legacies they've left behind in the nearly 30 years since then. Over 30 years since then. Actually, over 35 now. Because we're closing in on 40 years now, because this is 2025. These came out, we're in 1987, and yeah, it's hard to believe that it's been almost 40 years. That just tells you that I'm going to be 40 in about 4 years' time. I just turned 36 last month, so wow, how time flies. But anyway, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about these two movies, two very memorable movies, two really good movies. Let's start off with the first one we have here. The Steven Spielberg produced, Joe Dante directed Innerspace.
Test pilot Tuck Pendleton wants to make history. Supermarket clerk Jack Putter needs a vacation.
Jack, you're late. That's not good. You know it's coupon day.
Lieutenant Pendleton is about to be miniaturized, placed into this needle, and then injected into this rabbit.
Rock and roll.
But something went wrong, and Tuck's about to get a new destination. Inside Jack Putter.
I'm in a man.
Hello, can you hear me? I'm possessed!
Now, Jack's got twice the problems,
How you doing, Jack?
but he's double the man. With Tuck on his side,
We need more cows!
in his gut, and on his case.
You're not gonna bank groceries all your life, are you, Jack?
And only 24 hours left for Jack to get out of danger, so that Tuck can get out of Jack. Dennis Quaid, Martin Short. This summer, give yourself a shot of adventure. Innerspace.
Man, I wish this movie was a bigger hit because, man, this was such a good movie. This is a film that was inspired by the classic sci-fi film Fantastic Voyage, where you have Dennis Quaid as Tuck Pendleton, a cocky pilot who takes place in a miniaturization experiment. When some bad guys break into the lab to steal the technology, one of the scientists takes a syringe which contains the miniaturized Tuck and vessel. Now in the vessel is part of the material needed to restore him, but the other part, which is in the lab, is stolen. The scientist shot, but before dying, he injects Tuck into Jack Putter, played by Martin Short, a hypochondriac who feels that something is wrong with him all the time. When Tuck links himself to Jack's systems, he discovers that something happened. So they go back to the lab and discover what happened. Now they are told that unless they retrieve the material that was stolen, that they won't be able to restore Tuck before his oxygen is depleted. Now the government rep decides that the only thing that matters is that as long as they have the other half of the material, it is useless to the thieves. So Tuck eggs Jack to go out and find the thieves. They enlist the aid of Tuck's old girlfriend, played by Meg Ryan, who is a reporter. And it's fortunate for them that she has a lead that pans out. And yeah, like I said before, how did this not become a big hit? I mean, yeah, it won an Oscar for visual effects, which are still pretty impressive. I mean, these are damn good practical effects. And Joe Dante films very rarely do that. I mean, this is the guy that made Gremlins. He's known for having good effects in his movies. But regardless, this should have been a much bigger hit because, man, this was such a fun movie. The brilliance of this movie, they take the plot of Fantastic Voyage, add that Joe Dante Gremlin-style element to it, and it just meshes together so well into a really fun movie. I mean, Dennis Quaid and Martin Short work off each other so well, and you have a really good, strong supporting cast to work around them. You know, Meg Ryan, Robert Picardo, Kevin McCarthy, Vernon Wells. You see Henry Gibson there in the trailer. Great music by Jerry Goldsmith. The script really doing a good job of blending sci-fi comedy as well as a little bit of a romance. And that zany maniac energy that Dante puts together so nicely. I mean, this is the guy who also did Explorers a few years prior, another very underrated film of his. I think the movie didn't do very well because it was maybe a little ahead of its time. Like, I think if maybe this was released around the time Gremlins 2 came out in the 90s, probably would have been a more successful film. But this is one that definitely deserves a lot more attention than it has. And it's a movie that I really found myself really enjoying a lot the first time I saw it. It's a great fun ride. Really good film. One you should definitely check out. Innerspace is well worth the watch. So with that said, let us go ahead and move on to the second of the two films we have this weekend, and that's the Chris Columbus-directed Adventures in Babysitting.
Meet Chris Parker. Getting ready for the greatest night of her life.
Hi.
I gotta cancel. Now she's stuck babysitting the Anderson kids. Sarah.
Mom got Chris to babysit for me.
Chris? Her brother Brad.
Oh my.
His best friend Daryl.
Who is this kid? Stray dog.
Take good care of my baby. I'll guard her with my life.
What could possibly go wrong?
Chris, I'm in trouble.
Hang up and sit down. I'll be there in half an hour.
This is the night when things go from bad to worse.
Big city. Scum sucker.
Too ridiculous.
Wanna go to bed?
Hey, I like that.
You should try babysitting.
And this is only the beginning.
The bird is dead. Chris can handle it.
Sarah's probably hanging from the rafters by now. Sarah, hold on! I'm still in control here.
You could say they were having a bad night.
Big problems? No, not really.
If they weren't having such a good time. Adventures in Babysitting.
Do parents will ever ask me to babysit again?
If they do, I'd ask them for $1 more an hour.
I mean, talk about a movie that screams 1980s, but in a good way. This is a really, really fun movie where you have Elizabeth Shue playing Chris Parker, who agrees to babysit after her boyfriend stands her up. And expecting a dull evening, she settles down with 3 kids for a night of television and boredom, but when her frantic friend Brenda calls and pleads to be rescued from the bus station in downtown Chicago, the evening soon explodes into an endless whirl of hair-raising adventures. Chris and the kids leave their safe suburban surroundings and head for the heart of the big city, never imagining how terrifyingly funny their expedition will become. And, yeah, you see it right there in the trailer, them going up these climbing up these buildings, you know, going off on these crazy adventures, and that's kind of the beauty of this particular movie, man. This is a film that is just so crazy, so fun, and so over the top. Like, you can't help but admire the hell out of it. And really, it sucks you in right from the get-go with that brilliant, brilliant opening. You know, when you think of the song And Then He Kissed Me used very well in movies, there's 2 movies that come to mind that use this song to great effect. One is obviously Goodfellas with that great tracking shot of Ray Liotta and Lorraine Bracco going into the nightclub. And the other is this little masterpiece. Why is Elizabeth Shue doing this? I don't know, but it's still very much the thing that many people remember from this movie. That opening is just so well done. I mean, not just by the fact that you got a great song there, but Elizabeth Shue is just showing off her dance moves, and it plays nothing to the plot in particular, but who cares? It's still a fun scene, and, you know, she's actually really good in the movie. Like, you can tell when they were going to recast her and the girlfriend in Back to the Future, for the 2 sequels, and give her more of a prominent role now that Crispin Glover was out of the picture. Like, I mean, you can kind of see why they casted her as Jennifer in those movies, because she has a lot of good comedic timing, and she does show that she was game for a more prominent role in here. And of course, she would later come on to become a really damn good actress in her own right, starring in stuff like The Saint, and then her Oscar-winning role before that, her Oscar-nominated role in Leaving Las Vegas. But just a really, really good movie with a really strong cast. I mean, not just Elizabeth Shue, but you've got Anthony Rapp, Penelope Ann Miller is her best friend, Bradley Whitford is the boyfriend, you know, one of his early film roles. You got Vincent D'Onofrio in here. You know, you got Lolita Davidovich in one of her early film roles. I mean, this is just And the film is just a ton of fun. Like, you could just tell they were having a ball making this movie. This is Chris Columbus's first movie as a director. He had written so many scripts before. Classic movies like The Goonies. He wrote the script for Gremlins. I mean, this is a guy that, you know, he's been a part of our childhood for so many years, and I really do feel like this was just a perfect role for somebody like Elizabeth Shue, because this was originally set up at Paramount, and they were originally going to have Molly Ringwald being the lead for it, and so but there was a right of first refusal taken out of this, and so from Paramount, and the film was eventually taken over to Disney when they started producing more adult films in general. This was actually Disney's first PG-13 rated movie, which I did not know that, but they had all these different actresses come in to audition for this role, including Valerie Bertinelli and Elizabeth Shue, Elizabeth Shue was just pitch perfect for the role in this movie. I mean, she was very, very well done. And it's funny because when Paramount was working on this movie, they wanted Cher and Bette Midler as possible stars in the film. And, like, yeah, you could pretty much see why that wouldn't have worked out here. And the movie itself is just a ton of fun. I mean, this is a film that does not pull any punches. It just wants to go for a great ride over this one night. I mean, it reminds me a lot of License to Kill, a movie that is very corny at times, but God, it's a fun movie no matter how you look at it. I mean, this is a really good, fun film overall. I mean, I can't say anything more about this film that hasn't already been said. Absolutely great stuff. Really enjoyable film. Adventures in Babysitting. What more can you ask for a movie like this? So with all that said, we wrap up another time about the movie's Flashback, and another good week of movies coming our way next time around. We've got Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks starring in the film version of Dragnet. Mel Brooks' comedy classic Spaceballs comes out, and Stanley Kubrick's newest film, Full Metal Jacket, comes out, second to the last film, but great slate of movies coming our way next time around here. Definitely looking forward to talking about these ones coming up on the next episode. That'll be next week. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Check out some of the other videos I've done, as well as the playlist, as well as the notification bell. Hit that too, because you get updates on when new videos come out, and we do post new videos here every day. With all that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.